you, come on, sit down. You're sitting at the grown-ups table. I'm your host, Jesse Pimpinella, and as always, my partner in crime.
John
Thank
Jacobs.
you so much, and a happy Thanksgiving Eve to everyone out there. God bless you and your families. We're happy you're here sitting at the grown-ups table with me and John tonight, as we are going to be talking about a really niche cult fan thing that's been held on to for 16 years, guys.
16,
Going on
folks.
17, yeah, going on
16.
17 now. But if everybody, it's Thanksgiving, directed by Eli Roth. It was a movie that started as a mock trailer in the Grindhouse double feature movies. And then all of a sudden, everything started coming to life. And now we finally get to see it on screen. And we're going to give our experiences. We won't get into spoilers immediately. We're going to first begin with the history of the movie, talk about holiday horror and all that stuff. As we start getting into the plot, we will warn you about spoiler alerts. We don't want to tell you who the killer is in this case because obviously we want you to go see it. So we're going to save that near the end. But we'll save it near the end. It's just so that nobody has to cut out too early. But this movie, John, wow, what a great reaction coming out of this movie theater. Am I right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just getting the links together. But I can comment on this.
Time. Everybody was like, see this in theaters. See this in theaters.
Yeah, we were in the theater, and I would probably say there were like 3 groups of people, and it was just like pairs. It was like a group behind us, like group in front of us, and then like another group up, and then like something over along the way. So there was probably like maybe 8 to 10 people in there counting us. I thought we were going to be the only ones there. And
we were Monday night, so everybody knows the context.
Yeah, Monday night, I thought we were going to have the theater to ourselves. But I will say, everybody there was having just as good a time as we were. Everybody was laughing. Everybody was getting the jokes. Everybody was having a good time with it. Like, just like fun reacting to the film. You could tell that these were probably people who at least knew something about what they were getting into. I don't think that any of these people were off the street, had no idea nothing. And I think that led to that positive theater experience. I am bummed that AMC Dublin took down the Thanksgiving display to put your head through the turkey to have your picture taken. So we're in the lobby.
Yeah,
it's like 5 minutes till the film's going to start. And Jesse's like, let's get our picture. And I'm like, cool, we'll get it on the way out because we got to get food and we got to get to the theater. And he said, cool, let's do it. We get out of the theater, so what? It's like 10 o'clock, all said and done, right? And we're walking out. It's gone. It's nowhere to be found. It is literally gone from the movie theater, and they're putting up Christmas shit in the lobby. I was like, this is horrible.
And it wasn't even. It wasn't even. Thanksgiving didn't even pass yet. That's the crazy thing about it.
Right.
It didn't
not till tomorrow and Monday night at AMC Dublin. They were getting rid of Thanksgiving, man. It was all about Christmas.
Shit was gone, man. It was kind of
it was gone.
I feel like there is a war on Christmas, and I was about to fight the other end of it, man. I was upset. I was like, give Thanksgiving its time. Like, even me, I'm kind of like, all right, I know I kind of want to sing some Christmas songs in my head. Keep that shit down. Give Thanksgiving its dues, all right? Because it is a good holiday, and I like it. It's a holiday where you just eat and you're thankful, and I like that. I'm all about gratitude and being thankful to others and all kinds of stuff. And we'll get into that whole thing because we'll have a segment of the show where we talk about what we're grateful for, which is in the movie. But the one biggest thing that for me that showed me if they were a Grindhouse fan was when the trampoline showed up in the movie and everybody started losing it. As soon as you lost it, I know you're a Grindhouse fan. I know you've been waiting 16 years for this movie. If
everybody knows what that
trampoline, you weren't waiting. You weren't waiting. But because it's so funny how goofy and forced the trampoline scene is, but it's done with a really we know you know that we know that you know kind of thing. So it fits the movie, but you're like, really? Why is there a trampoline in the middle of a basketball court? It doesn't make.
We're going to talk about that later, right?
We will.
Because I have a couple of things to say because I really like how they did it. So, okay, we'll wait till we actually talk about that. I've almost got everything posted to Slasher and my Facebook, so we'll be good to start here.
So let's get on this. Let's talk about the history of Thanksgiving. And I'm not talking about the Mayflower. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about this movie. This movie has the most interesting fan base ever because it had a fan base for 16 years before it was even the movie. So let me bring you back to 2007, where Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez, two of the greatest directors of all time, in my opinion. I mean, you had
Yep.
the Mexican trilogy with El Mariachi, Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Then you got Tarantino with Reservoir Dogs, all those good stuff. You get these two guys that say, we want to give people the grindhouse experience of watching a double feature movie that's cheesy, exploitative. It's gritty. Like, even they jokingly had parts of the movie cut out because, as the message says on the movie, sorry, the restoration of this film was too damaged.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious because
Yeah.
they purposely did it over plot points that they didn't have to explain.
Well, that and the sex scene, so that they didn't have to finish that up. So it was just like, oh, real missing, and then it's like an hour and a half past, and there's chaos.
Like they're like
okay.
the two friends that hate each other and they want to kill each other, and all of a sudden it skips ahead and one's dying in his arms. He's like, man, if I would only known your deep dark secret, we could have been friends sooner. It's okay, buddy. Rest your eyes. You're like, you never know what it is. And I'm like,
well, I love when JD finally gives him the recipe, and Michael Biden's writing it down, and he's like giving him the specifics, and like right as he finally gets the recipe from his brother, he dies, and you're like, no.
And like, you don't even know how they got there. It was just one moment they're okay, and then the next thing they're not okay. But anyways, with this movie, it had fake trailers that are much like this movie, which it had Machete, which people are not familiar with that. That was literally the character from Spy Kids, the uncle that Danny Trejo plays. It's just a movie where I guess it's kind of a prequel to Spy Kids, in which he is he's an agent in Mexico, and it's a violent shoot 'em up, gut 'em up movie. And it's hilarious.
Is it really a Spy Kids prequel, though, or are we just making that up?
No, the two characters, their names are the same. No, I'm about joking.
Yeah, but is it, though? Like, is that an actual thing?
A writer and director has two characters who are both played by the same character or same actor with the same name. Are we going to literally act like those two are not the same character? And they dress the same, they talk the same, they act the same. It's just one is in a PG movie and he can't do anything, and then one's in a rated R movie.
Okay, I mean they are a part of the same universe, so it is. They are the same person. It is.
That's what's so funny
I
about
didn't
it.
know. Wow.
So you make that into a trailer, and it's this violent shoot 'em up movie, and then they actually made it into a movie. And then they did that with Hobo with His Shotguns. And once those two movies were made, and then the Machete sequel was made, everyone had the question buzzing. What is the next movie? And can it be Thanksgiving? And for years, it was kind of in the development. We got something, but it wasn't greenlit until November of last year, according to Eli Roth. So they said, we'll make the movie, but if you got a year to do it, can you do it? And he said, hell yeah. And him and Rendell, who's also the co-writer of the movie, wow, they got to make a really fun ass movie because
and I would say for only having a year to put this film together, damn good job for only having a year.
Oh yeah,
and that's from like conception to like on the screen a year.
Yeah,
that's not a lot of time to make a film.
No,
so I mean,
and the one thing about it is, and you could see that this movie was a labor of love. For these two, because Eli Roth, if you've ever listened to the History of Horror show he does or the podcast he does, this guy has a wealth of horror knowledge that I don't even comprehend, and I consider myself very knowledgeable.
Oh yeah, all of these horror directors, they start talking and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like I don't know anything about horror, and I'm like, that's all I watch.
I like to think I'm an expert in among my peers, but then when I hear them talk, I'm like,
I'm just like, wow.
But the biggest thing they always said is like, man, I always felt like there was this huge gap in November. There wasn't like this mainstream Thanksgiving movie, and this was a time when in 1978 when Halloween came out, you had every movie being a holiday. You had Mother's Day, you had I'm sure there's a Father's Day movie, or it might be the Stepfather movie. Either way, it's watched on Father's Day. Then you had all kinds of movies. You had Uncle Sam for 4th of July, and there was not really a Thanksgiving movie that was mainstream that was made for a holiday watch. Luckily, we are cultured and we know there was already a Thanksgiving movie to be
We
watched
do.
every
We do.
year because not because we're cultured people. And what is that movie, John? What is the movie that's been holding down the fort every year for us?
That movie would be Thanksgiving, starring our good friend Ryan Francis, who unfortunately could not be here tonight. But he wanted to send his best wishes and advise everybody, no matter how many times you've seen Thanksgiving, go ahead and watch it
Go
tonight.
watch it. Gobble gobble, motherfuckers. Go watch that movie. All right. That has a great storyline and it has that just fun horror movie element. It's the first Thanksgiving turkey coming back for revenge. Booyah.
So I feel like though, I feel like that Eli Roth's Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving can like have sex and give birth to a hybrid movie.
A
And
Thanksgiving verse.
I want so hear me out. We
Okay.
have the sequel to Eli Roth's Thanksgiving that is called Thanksgiving, which is about the killer turkey wreaking havoc on the
There you
town.
go.
And we
There
can
you
we can combine these into one mega Thanksgiving horror franchise. Let's
It's
do
kind of
this.
like how Prom Night 2 went supernatural in the sequel. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, there you go.
exactly.
There you
Exactly.
go.
Two completely different films, but they can still merge into one.
I like this. Eli Roth, talk with our friend Ryan Francis and the other guys who created Thanksgiving. Let's make this movie happen. Because Thanksgiving is also a musical, which Ryan Francis went back and starred in it as well as his original casting role from the original movie. But anyway,
And my kitchen is featured in Thanksgiving 3, along with my wife's cooking apron and several other little tidbits of my home. So
wait, is that
if
the
you
scene
haven't
that
seen
Ryan
Thanksgiving
films?
3, yeah, that's the infomercial scene. That's my kitchen. Jesse, you've been in my house.
I know.
That's
I didn't know it was filmed there. I thought it was a kitchen. I'm gonna
so
have to watch
quick
that.
story. So we shot that and we shot an audition for me at the same time for Zombie Babies. And so what we did was Ryan was like, hey, we're going to do all this fucked up shit to this turkey. He's like, we don't have to worry about audio because they're just going to mix it however they want. So he's like, I brought this turkey over, and he like just pulls out this 30-pound turkey. It's solid, like frozen solid in one of those like bags, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I don't know how to thaw this out. He's like, well, just leave it outside. So we set it in my driveway for like, I don't know, 5 hours. And, the sun kind
just
of
a random turkey
thawed it out. We shot all my scenes, the audition scenes we want to put together. So then we go to shoot the Thanksgiving scene. So it's like 9 o'clock at night now. That turkey was disgusting, dude. When we cut open that plastic, it made that like sound like when we pulled it. It was all, had all the strings and stuff. It smelled like shit. And poor Ryan had to manhandle this turkey. I was like, stab it. I'm like slamming on the ground. I'm like, jam your finger up its ass. Like he was doing all this stuff because we just wanted to give them a bunch of footage that they could then splice together, do a audio overlay, and there's your infomercial, right? So we have like there's like 10 minutes of raw footage of me just telling Ryan for 10 minutes to do various things to this turkey. It was hilarious, man. That was a really fun day where we shot that.
That's so cool. I did not know that. So
Yeah.
look at that. You guys got some interesting Thanksgiving stories right there. I love that. That's great. So anyways, a lot of holiday horror movies. A lot of holiday horror movies have came out, and there really wasn't in the Hollywood world the definitive Thanksgiving movie. I mean, arguably you can argue some movies were, but like nothing that came out like how Halloween, Friday the 13th, nothing on the nose about it. Black Christmas.
Right.
So, this movie was kind of the movie that said on the nose, this is Thanksgiving. This is, and so, and what was really surprising about this movie, which we can go into the next topic, is how this movie kind of ended up being the best horror movie this year. And
I think it was
the Dead sequel. We had. Oh, my wife.
Hold on, I heard Sarah. Sarah, what do you got?
Sarah has been risen. Everybody, Sarah has rose. The bride of Pimpy has rose off the table. She needs to talk about stuff right now.
We need to get that show going again, man.
We do. I've been trying to tell her. Everybody, would you guys like to have a 24/7 horror podcast every Monday coming out? Of course you would. This is the host. That is Bride of Pimpy. All right. So here she is.
Okay.
Welcome, Sarah, to the show. Yeah.
2023 has absolutely sucked for horror movies, and I'm
Agreed.
Saw 10 sucks.
Real quick, you two never agree, ever. You two never agree. So the fact that you guys are on the same plane right now is scary, dark times. Keep continuing.
Sarah and I agree at least 40% of the time.
40%. That's all. 40%.
That's a pretty good number, man.
Michael says it was. Michael, I agree. Yep, it was.
Okay. Out of this entire year, all the horror movies I've liked is Thanksgiving, and I'm fucking mad about it.
Yeah.
Wait, you're mad about it though? Isn't that a good thing?
Okay, we had Saw 10. That sucked ass.
I like
Five Nights at Freddy. Sucked ass.
Whoa. Hold on.
I said what I said.
It was good.
All right, say the scene that you want to argue him about with Five Nights at Freddy. There's a scene I know you want to argue about.
They built a fucking fort.
Huh?
In Five Nights at Freddy, they built a fort.
They built a fucking fort.
I don't understand.
That bothered her. Like how, like in Friday Nights at Freddy, they were just like, let's build a fort tonight. Yeah, she wanted balls out, blood, guts, everything.
And
it's made for preteens, Sarah.
I don't want gateway horror.
But they made Willy's Wonderland for the adults.
I know, but I want more.
Well, there is a 4-hour lore cut. There's a 4-hour lore cut that's out there. We might get it. Sorry.
We had the fucking Exorcist, which fucking sucked.
I'm glad I didn't watch that.
Oh, it was so bad.
Jesse's permanent thumbs down on that one.
Listen, if anybody wants a sequel to The Exorcist,
watch Exorcist 3
and season 1 of The Exorcist. That show,
because the Exorcist movie ripped off the storyline from season 1 of the show. Also, still mad about that. Fuck you, Blumhouse.
Fuck you, Blumhouse.
Okay, what else? Scream 6 sucked.
Ugh.
And now Scream is like on a downturn.
Can I say something real quick related to that?
What?
And I hope you're on the same page with me. I'm really happy. I'm glad we're both happy. I really am. I'm sorry. Look,
I got something on.
Look, I know I'm the old guy. Okay, so I know this is old guy versus new kids. I understand that, but these films have sucked ass. Okay, they have just sucked ass.
Good.
Scream 4 was probably the worst out of all of them. Are you kidding me?
They're
gonna have to kill. Oh, people don't pay attention to me. Let me start killing people. Scream 6 is the worst.
I got Sarah this because she was having a rough one with all the Scream news.
Well, there you go. So I'm really excited that both of them are gone because now I feel like we can get back to what Scream films should be. And, I feel like they could just call up Neve Campbell now and be like, hey, the 2 top billed actors are out, so we've got room for you if you want to come back. And then she'll say yes, and she'll come back, and then they'll make a proper Scream film. I feel like that's what's going to happen.
I think out of principle, she's going to say fuck off. Which
I think she will too. I agree.
Okay, we also had Evil Dead Rise, which also sucked.
Yeah, Joel loved it. I can't.
I liked it, but I agree with all the criticisms. I like it, but I agree.
It fucking sucks.
She doesn't like it because it wasn't truly like Deadites. The Deadites. I agree with that. No disagreement there.
It was just a zombie movie where the fucking zombies talked.
I was happy to go back into the world, but I will say that is my least favorite movie. Out of all the projects they've made, it's my least favorite.
Not counting Exorcist, it was probably the worst one out of the year.
Ooh, okay.
There's stuff I can still say I liked. Evil Dead Rise pisses me off to no end. I think about it and I'm instantly mad.
Yeah.
Like I see it on HBO Max and I want to cancel HBO Max.
So remember that?
Yeah.
So you said that you could defend certain parts of Scream 6. So you remember that scene where they're like outside and they're like climbing on a ladder and the guy's trying to get their attention, but they can't hear him for some reason. And there's this table right behind him that has tons of inanimate objects that could be used to generate sound and awareness, and he doesn't use them. Oof, yeah, that was rough.
Look, I can actually defend that. Do you really, no. And it's a very pessimistic view. It's a horribly pessimistic view I have. Do you really think people are smart?
No.
I don't.
I give people the benefit of the doubt, but I know they're not.
When Halloween Kills came out, everybody was upset. Like, I can't believe all these townspeople are stupid.
No, they're that.
I believe it.
No, Tommy Doyle's just that.
I believe the woman showing up with the iron. I believe in
the Black and Decker iron from 1979.
I do. I don't think it's smart, but do I believe that somebody would do that? You bet your fucking ass I do. We came from small towns.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of Brick from Anchorman, where he shows up with a grenade at the Rumble, and they're just like, "Brick, where did you get a grenade?" And he's just like, like running. Like, that's the Iron Lady. It's like, did you bring an iron? Where did you get that? Like,
in fairness, I'd probably bring an iron.
Yeah. So I mean, like, and listen, I'm not just calling people stupid blindly. I am a part of this population of stupid. I'm stupid. I've done a lot of dumb shit in my life. So I'm not saying this coming from a high horse. I'm in the shit with everybody else being stupid. All right. I'm just self-aware of my stupidity as well as everybody else's. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. That's all I have. 2023 sucked. Thanksgiving saved it.
Thanksgiving was ironically the best Scream movie this year.
Yeah.
It was the best Scream movie.
Well, we might get a better Scream movie now. So
get Eli Roth on it.
No,
do it.
Courtney Cox is gonna be the only motherfucker in this movie. I am not sitting through 2 hours of Gale Weathers without Dewey or Sydney.
I don't know what
I'm fucking pissed.
I don't know what's going to be.
Also, this is like Elephant Man Gale Weathers with all that Botox she's got going on. So, I mean, she can't even move her face. This is
Gale Weathers signing off. Like,
wow, Jesse just took that one to the next level.
Hi, I'm Gale Weathers. I am young. Like, dude, her face is stretched. Dude, like, she looks like a lizard.
Bad. It's bad. Look, people do whatever you want. You got the freedom to do what you want, but at the same time, just maybe think. But let's not go trash Courtney Cox on this.
Yeah, no.
Let's get back to Thanksgiving.
So now we're gonna get into the movie, but we're going to not get too spoiler alerts. So the one thing we're all gonna agree on, we're not going to reveal John Carver until the last 10 minutes of the show. We want to give people the chance to we'll talk about the show. We'll give little tiny spoilers, but nothing too major, nothing too big where it reveals the killer in the end.
All right. Fair enough. So you have to stop me if I get ranty and you feel like I'm about
I will. So this movie has one of the okay. So what's so
Bye, Sarah.
Bye, Sarah. So what is so great about this is that it has such a fun cold opening. And a lot of horror movies have great cold openings. And this one also kind of plays. This one has a really fun cold opening because the cold opening at the very beginning is very a la Halloween '78. They do a lot of the same framework, the and everything. When you guys see it, you'll understand it. You'll be like, oh, this is gonna be a fun movie. This movie knows what it is, and that's all it's gonna be.
And it's the biggest
giveaway. And no, it's not. Shut up. Sarah, no spoiling, okay?
No, I didn't figure it out until, and we'll talk about it at the very end. I didn't catch it in the beginning either.
I will tell you what. I will tell you guys what when I figured it out. But okay, so basically the movie opens. It's Thanksgiving night, but it's Black Friday on Thanksgiving because that's the one thing we all bitch about every year. That Black Friday starts on Thanksgiving. And what happens is it's this whole entire store, and it touches on classism, this rich poor classism, and they're like all screaming at the gates, we want our free waffle iron, fuck you, fuck. Which by the way, nothing makes the word fuck you better than a New England accent. By the way, I just said fuck you.
Fuck you.
It sounds like it's like a fuck you with sugar. Like
Yeah.
it's it's like adorable. It's like when a dog barks at you and you're like, oh, you little thing. But it basically opens up, not to give away too much. It obviously results in a lot of the way you see YouTube videos result in stampeding, running over, punching, kicking, scratching. And the movie is very tongue in cheek with the whole idea of how we're a very consumer heavy society. We care about what we want versus the needs of others. Like there's people stepping on each other to get the waffle iron and all that stuff. And then it ends with the sheriff doing one of the greatest title shots, like, no, and he shoots in the eye. I don't want to tell you why he shoots in the air, but he shoots in the air, and then they give us what we wanted for 16 years, the Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I was like, and when that happened, the audience in the theater broke out laughing.
Yep. We all did. Every single person. We all did. It was
And
great.
and that's when, for me, as a viewer, I was like, oh, we got something on our hands here.
Absolutely. They
We
can
got
show me
something.
whatever they want now, and I'm in. I'm bought in. They got me with the it was funny and it was real at the same time, because it was just the absurdity. Like, every year on Black Friday, I pull up the Black Friday fights compilations on YouTube, just like everybody
They
does.
should just release a UFC videos of
Yeah.
all the
Because I just want to see the fights. Like, I don't do Black Friday shopping.
Me neither.
I worked retail in my early 20s, and that ruined Black Friday for me, just like it does most people.
Mhm.
So I don't do Black Friday shopping, but I watch the fights on YouTube. And watching this, I was just like, dude, this is the YouTube fights, but rated R with
Yeah.
like death. And it was so great. And I was very surprised at how many people they killed at this Black Friday massacre, where there wasn't even a killer. They were
Yeah.
just people dying to get the sales, man. It was so great.
It was funny and yet believable. Like the way
Yeah.
everyone dies, I bet you they've actually researched how have people died in Black Friday. And those are probably all ways people have died. Because like you got the doors falling on the one guy, then
Yeah,
you got
that-
one
yeah,
guy
that
going
happened.
through the window, getting his artery getting nicked by the glass. Like
Yeah. He was like,
and like that's believable. I
Yeah.
totally believe somebody died like that. Or then when the shopping cart hits the woman's head,
yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah,
That's how it would happen.
absolutely. And that poor man that got trampled, I felt so bad for him. All he was trying to do was lock that door and reinforce it,
That's
and
all.
he got trampled to death. Poor guy.
Yeah, poor guy indeed. But so anyways, yeah. So the movie it kicks off that way, and it goes 1 year later from the incident. The incident is pretty much infamous. Everybody talks
Yes.
about it. It's on YouTube. Everybody.
National
there's only a
news,
YouTube video of it. There's no actual security footage because it disappeared. And
Trying
basically,
to cover it up.
and so basically, it's this event that brings everybody, all these strangers together. It's what connects everybody in the movie. Everybody was at that Black Friday night.
Yep.
And it's so silly. It's such a silly concept. Like this is like I know what you did last summer. The thing that connects them all is they killed a body together. And this one, they were at the store. Like it's just like this is what brings them all together. And
Well, like I had mentioned before, prom night, whereas it was all the kids that were around when the girl got
yeah,
thrown out the window, so it's like they were all there, plus the killer. Now killing has started, so now we start the big mystery of who's doing this and why, and it was great.
Ooh, yeah. And let's talk about some of the kills in this movie, because the kills, the one thing that this movie brought back, in my opinion, that's been missing in horror movies is great kills. Great kills. But before we do that, hold on. Michael jumped in.
He's
Yeah.
100% correct.
He's 100% correct. This was such a believable. It was such a believable scene. It was very believable.
It really was.
Like I said, none of the ways that people died were far-fetched. I mean, honestly, I truly believe. Again, I come from a very pessimistic view on the world. That I believe there are people that cruel, and the way people had died, I can see people dying like that. I just, after a while, you're just like, yeah, that makes sense. So I agree. It's
Well,
set.
you don't have to believe it. There are people that cruel out there.
Oh
So
no, yeah,
that's
yeah.
a statement of fact, my friend.
Exactly. Anyways, so let's talk about the kills, man. So real quick, who's John Carver? John Carver is our serial killer. He's our Michael Myers. He's our Freddy Krueger. This is the de facto slasher of Thanksgiving, everybody. This is Ghostface, essentially. This is Ghostface, Pilgrim Ghostface. Okay, and I say that
Pilgrim gross face.
but I
Nice.
say that with great respect because if this was a Scream movie, fantastic. This would have been exactly what I wanted from a Scream movie. So let's talk about it. So the kills in this movie, I didn't feel like none of them were duds. I felt like every kill was A material. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I felt the same. There were two that stand out to me. One isn't even from the killer, and that is in the Black Friday scene when the woman gets hit with the shopping cart and her hair gets caught in the wheel, and then it literally just rips her scalp off with the hair and then just like drags through the floor as the person with the cart's pushing. Fucking hilarious the way that
Hilarious.
that is done. Are we allowed to talk about who that is? We're waiting for the last 10 minutes to
Let's
talk
wait
about
till the last 10 minutes. Let's slow
Okay,
so that
okay,
people don't see the characters and they
okay,
know who it is. So we can
okay,
describe the deaths, but let's not give
okay.
the characters names.
So that was my favorite kill, not from the killer. And then my favorite kill from the killer was something that it was kind of out of the original fake trailer, which I was very happy to see. And that is where the turkey mascot is just casually walking down the street in the parade. Everybody's having a good time. And then out of the blue, whack! Just cuts his head right off. And it's like, it's out of the blue. It's sudden. It's loud. It's a jump scare because nobody's expecting it. There's no build up to it. You haven't even seen the killers in the area yet. And then
No.
boom, it just happens. And then he's gone, dips
Yeah.
out, gone. And you're just like, holy shit. Everyone's screaming, blood's going out, the head rolls. Like it was just great. And again, it reminds me so much of prom night, including John Carver, because he's just wearing like black jeans and a black sweater that's very
Yeah.
tight, athletic fitting, and then he
Yep.
just has the mask and that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it, and like I like that because that at least gives you that like lower budget grindhousey feel from it, kind of like that B movie type thing from the 80s, because there's not a lot of thought put into the killer because who gives a shit? You're here to watch the kills. You don't care what the killer looks like.
No,
You're just
no.
here to watch the kills. And
Yeah.
so it was great. I love that they did it that way, but those are my two favorite kills in the film.
Did you know that the whole John Carver name that was a last second thing when they were in this last year? What happened was when they were doing their research, they found out John Carver. They literally found this out while they were kind of putting this movie together that he was the first governor, and they just thought Carver. That's it. There you go. That's the name. That's what we're gonna do. And like, what a wonderful little fun coincidence that is that they got to do that. My favorite kill is okay. So I have two kills right now. They tie for me. Because one isn't that scary, but it's so like it was fun, and it reminded me of Jason X, where he puts the woman's face in the water and then puts it on the freezer, and then she's like sticking off, and then she tries to call her on her phone, but she can't. Her face is so fucked up that the Face ID doesn't work. And I'm just like, this is so funny.
Yeah,
it's brutal. It's horrifying, and then it has this quick little. It's so funny.
Well, because all the blood is on the screen of her phone, so she can't touch any of the buttons. Her hand's flipping around. So then she goes for the face unlock, and then because she's all fucked up, you're right, it can't recognize the face. I did think that was cool that he purposely got her face wet and then was just like, bam, it just bam. And the thing that I liked about these kills too is that the killer really like muscles people around. He really likes to grab their face and just move them all over with a lot of strength. And I liked that too, again, because it reminded me of that 80s B movie grindhousey type feel where the killer had a lot of physicality when he interacted with the people in the film as he was attempting to kill them or kill them. And it was nice to see that. Again, it's all about that cohesion, you know, on what you see and feel when you're watching the film. And I think that was a great decision when they were directing whomever. I don't even know who was playing the role of the killer when they had the mask and everything on. But that to me was great direction, because that stood out to me, and I instantly could draw that correlation from other films to this, and it just allowed me to enjoy it even more, because I'm like, this is familiar. I
Mhm.
like this. This works for what we're seeing. Keep going.
Yeah. And it also just the brutality of it.
Yes.
Like for me, like when I saw the way he was killing that woman, that's when I started feeling like this is a revenge. Because like
Yeah.
it just every kill in this movie is cruel. It's
Yeah.
not simple. The kills in this movie are not simple. And that kind of alludes to what this movie is gonna come up, how this movie's gonna unfold. Because no one gets off easy in this movie. No one gets off easy. It's everybody doesn't get quick deaths. Like the killer, if the killer wanted to, he could have easily quick deathed everybody. Like just quick,
Sure.
done. But everything was excruciating, very excruciating, and very performative. I mean, because one of the things he was doing was he was tagging his victims in his Instagram posts. Like he was like calling everybody out.
He had the table set, and he's like, "Oh, here's yours. Here's your head that I cut off, by the way."
Yeah, like he pretty much told everybody, "Hey, these are the people I'm going to kill." It was kind of like Scream 3, where everybody's names were in the script, and they're going to be killed based upon how the script is. In this case, it's the Instagram post. However, I tag you, or that if you were there that night, you're fair game. So it was very just raw, and I liked that feeling of that. The other kill that I liked, and again, this is my front runner kill. I know some people were like, "Come on, Jesse, that." I liked it because, man, we were all waiting for it. The trampoline. Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see that kill. Of course, they couldn't do it the way they wanted to do it originally, because
I was a little disappointed with that.
And I understand why, because you got to think about it. You had three juggernaut people at the time in Hollywood who did Grindhouse that could negotiate with the MPA to get that. But with this being a lower budget movie, I don't think they were going to get it. It's kind of weird. If for anybody who's just for people at home inside baseball, the MPA, they pretty much, it's very arbitrary how they deem movies rated R, PG-13, NC-17.
Standards change depending on who you're talking to, even though standards still exist. I don't know. It's weird.
Basically, if you were to follow the rules strictly, most Marvel movies would be considered rated R. If you were to follow the rules strictly, like a good, probably maybe 50% of them would be technically rated R, but they're not, because you could argue it. You could argue it because basically it's like anytime there's blood, like the sight of blood, that's enough to go. That's enough to make it rated R. It's the thing about every time you see blood, that's enough for it to be rated R. It's just, it all depends on context. The South Park guys hate the MPA. You ever want a good idea of how much the MPA sucks? Watch interviews with the South Park guys talking about it. They hate those guys because they fuck them on every turn. But we're not going to get into that. But anyways, so we couldn't get the whole where in the Grindhouse trailer, the girl's jumping on the trampoline. It's playing that boing, 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 that weird music. She takes off her top. She's not wearing a bra under, and then she jumps up. She does a split on the trampoline. And then all of a sudden, we have a shot of the knife poking up, and then she goes right down on it. And then we go, "Happy Thanksgiving." We couldn't get that, but what I thought we got was still pretty excruciating because she didn't die immediately, which sucked. Like, because she jumped. Think about it. You jump, the knife goes up, cut your ankle, you fall again on the knife. So, she was pretty much getting impaled multiply.
Yeah, and I think that ties right back to what you were talking about with the brutality, because yes, we all know in the trailer the knife is sticking up. Her legs are extended. She's a gymnast, and she falls appropriately placed on the knife. That would have still been brutal to do in this film, but the way that they did it, what you were just talking about with the brutality, it was all right there, because I remember, like, when we were watching, I was like, God damn, because it just wasn't the one that did her in, it was multiples.
Yeah.
And I like how they did the quick cutting when they were showing it. it made it more like, damn, she's getting hacked to pieces, but it was like 5 seconds and then
Yeah.
it was over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously that was kind of the showpiece kill that everybody was wanting to see. So while I'm a little disappointed they didn't get to shoot it the way they did in the trailer, which I always wanted to see, I'm okay with this. It's a minor personal quibble. Would love to have seen it, but totally satisfied with what we got here.
Yeah. And also Michael's bringing up his favorite kill, overkill with the temp prod. So basically, from the trailer, if you remember the old trailer, we had somebody who became a turkey dinner.
We had somebody.
And somebody became a turkey dinner in this, and like she's in the oven, like, oh my god, and you think the killer's giving a second of mercy by pulling the door down, stabs her with the temp prod and puts it back on.
Yep.
And then I just love, like, she's dying excruciating, and you're
yeah, that little pop sound was perfect. Then he knew it was good to take her out of the oven.
The audience laughed. Oops, sorry. Hey guys. Sorry, my dogs are in a turf war with the dog across the meadow. They don't like that.
That turf war, nice. So this brings up another where it was a little bit different in the trailer for the film too, was that at the end of the trailer we got the killer fucking the dead human turkey with the prod sticking out of them, and it was probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen captured on film. And I hate to disappoint everybody, but we don't get that in this film. Again, just for the exact same reason why we didn't get the singular fall on the knife. Again, would have been great to see it, wanted to see it, but we still have it in the trailer. It's beautiful. If you haven't watched it, again, go watch the trailer because it is quite a sight. Would love to have seen it in the film, but I understand why it's not there.
I love like how it's barely like 3 frames in the trailer.
Yeah, and you're just like, wait, did I what? And then you watch it again, you're like, dude, he's fucking it. Like that's what's happening right here. He's fucking it.
I'm so glad.
Like, freaking out.
I'm so happy I didn't see that movie in theaters, so I had the ability to rewind it. Because at first when I saw, I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Oh, dude.
I'm like, oh, dude, so funny.
Yeah,
like
it was.
These are guys who are masters of their crafts when it comes to filmmaking, and they know how to mess with us. And they have fun with it. They know that this is a genre film, and they're gonna have fun with it and mess with our sensibilities. And that's why these movies are so great. Now we'll depart from that and talk about the departure from the grindhouse atmosphere. So the grindhouse atmosphere, for those that aren't familiar with that it's this nitty gritty, low budget film style, low lighting. The screen is very poppy. It's not exactly
shoddy film, lots of grain.
Yeah, and again, would we have liked a version like that? Yeah, we would have. But this one kind of went in a different direction. And it went more towards like how John Carpenter was trying to make Halloween in '78 versus how they made Black Christmas. Yeah, I mean, where it had kind of that, not too grindhousey, but it had that kind of like that shoddy looking kind of film. Now, what were your thoughts on this movie? Like, what did you think about the departure from that? Because I know you're a fan of the grindhouse.
Wait, just to clarify, when you were talking about Black Christmas, you're talking about the original one, right?
The original.
Yeah. So yeah, it was already one of the. We talked about this, how it could arguably be the first slasher film, but because it was Canadian, we didn't really count that, and
we're pieces of shit.
Yeah,
could have been
we did Halloween.
Yeah, it could be a bunch of things.
But so I got to see Grindhouse in the theater. I went opening night. It was an amazing experience getting to see that in the theater. You're in the theater for like 5 hours, so it's a long time, but it was just really cool, and it was a great experience to have in the theater. I've got the Blu-ray set that is the theater presentation, so it's the films, it's the grain, it's the trailers, it's everything. They do have the films separately, but when you buy them separately, the grain is gone. You may or may not get the trailers, so your best bet is to just buy the theatrical presentation. It's on Blu-ray. It's not that expensive. But obviously, fell in love with it, fell in love with Grindhouse. Really excited to see it. Again, personal preference would have been to replicate the Grindhouse feel because that's what I fell in love with, but understand why they didn't do it that way. I feel like they could have, but I understand why they did it this way, and I think it's more successful doing it this way. And it does put it in as, and when I say this, I'm being very grossly oversimplified in general. It makes it feel like more of a legitimate film. When you watch this film, it is shot really well. It is lit very well. It's edited well.
Yes.
The sound is great. Every actor does a great job and is delivering the way that that character would in that film. Like, it's a very well put together film, and that's what you get from Eli Roth. You can say what you want about his films, because I know there's haters out there. I know there's people that say it's just torture porn, blah, blah, blah. But the man puts together a beautiful presentation no matter the film. Look at Green Inferno. The whole point of that movie was to scare you into not being a douchebag on the internet and actually put your money where your mouth is. That's it. That's it. But it gave you this amazing presentation that you actually, for an extended period of time, took seriously. And the great thing about this movie is it balances itself. It knows exactly what it is. It's Thanksgiving from the fake trailers in a full film, but we're going to do it this way, and we're going to make it look like we take it serious, but we don't, because we know what this film is. And because they had that balance, Jesus Christ, this was so refreshing. I cannot express to you and anybody that is watching this on how I was looking for a word and I can't even find a word to describe it. Enjoyable. It was.
Yeah.
To watch a straight up horror film that knew exactly what it was, knew what it wanted to do, knew what its audience wanted, and it delivered. We didn't have any of this elevation Ari Aster bullshit. We didn't have any of this fucking let's elevate this shit and have some retquel, sequel, retcon, prequel shit like they're doing in the Scream films. There was no baggage. There was no, we're going to make this into some artsy shit and try to win an award. There was none of that. This was a horror film based off a fake Grindhouse trailer, and that's what they delivered to us. And I cannot thank that team enough. Because in my opinion, that's what we need, because horror is pissing me off. It's kind of like when all that punk music killed rock music in the late 90s up into the mid 2000s. I feel like that's what's happening to horror now with all this bullshit. And it was so great to see a horror film that wasn't any of that. Oh my God.
Well, the problem is that anytime something is successful, Hollywood, in my opinion, they find the wrong reasons why it was successful and then try to duplicate those wrong reasons. Like, for example, like Get Out. Like, the reason why Get Out was great because it tapped into something horrifying.
Yes, it did.
Definitely horrifying. And instead, Hollywood was like, social issues. Anything with social issues. And it's like, no, not anything with social issues. It has to tap into something horrifying. You know what I mean? And that's why I think like there's a lot of movies that were kind of following in Get Out's footsteps, but we're missing the mark, because what made Get Out terrifying was it was about a terrifying and a satirical take on something terrifying.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what it was about. Race. It was about this kind of layer of race that maybe some people didn't know. This idea of like, you know, being so like aware and be like, hey, you know, like I love when the father's like, if I would have voted Obama for a third time if I could. It was pointing out something.
Yeah.
It was pointing out something that was kind of truly terrifying. This whole like they want to be black and they want to take over they want to take over your agency. You know what I mean? Like they want to take over who you are. That there's something terrifying about losing your agency. Now I'm not speaking from an aspect of race. I'm speaking from an aspect of anybody who loses agency. I mean, look at how people flocked around Britney Spears with conservatorship, how she lost agency of herself, and everybody wanted her to have control of herself. So imagine anytime you lose control of something, that's a scare. That's what it was talking about. This idea of control, but with other issues. But like you look at other movies and they're like, nah, we'll just do the social stuff and that will be a slam dunk for us and it'll work. And then it doesn't work. And they're like, why didn't it work? We did the exact same thing they did. It's like, no, you didn't. You missed the mark of what they did. What they did had something rich, depth. It had a volume to speak. And you just did something and carbon copied it. And then you're mad because it didn't work. That's
so I think what led to that is the opening scene and the satire of the whole Black Friday being the catalyst and the killer's motivation,
yes.
and all those people dying. That satire and that social commentary, everybody recognizes that. So when you open your film with that, you have everybody hooked. They could have done whatever they wanted for this film after that opening Black Friday scene, and we all would have been there and bought it. It didn't matter what they did at that point because we all bought it. And I like that they did that. It was, hey, we're going to get you from the beginning. If you watch this opening scene to the title and you're not hooked, then this movie isn't for you. Yeah. If you're hooked and ready to go, you're going to like whatever we show you because we already got you. And that to me, that's part of the Grindhouse feel because you know what you're watching, you know what you're getting into.
They're exploiting
it pulls you in because those Grindhouse films, you said the word, are exploitation films as well. And so when this film gave us that in the beginning, while it looked like a beautifully shot Hollywood film, it gave us the Grindhouse and it hooked us with the Grindhouse. And so I like how it's like interweaving, you know, like or interwoven, not weaving. I can't talk tonight, but I just like that it's not just a straight line point A to point B. There's lots of bits going on in the movie, making it very enjoyable, you know. And even though it's predictable, and even though you do figure out the killer, or you should figure out the killer by the end, there's enough of this going on where it's not distracting. You know, there's not these weird plot points that it takes you down and then nothing happens, or these subplots.
It's very
it's very right on target with the plot. But once you get there, you're like, cool, you know, thanks for getting me there and not taking me in all this bullshit that didn't matter. So it doesn't waste your time. It's a film that doesn't waste your time, and that's big for me.
I agree. And like I said, the lessons that to take from this movie is don't be like, oh, I have to have something tragic happen on a holiday.
Yeah.
No, find something about that holiday that is tragic.
Right. The commercialism of holidays.
And there's the horror. That's so like Black Friday is horrible for that.
It is. It's terrible.
They didn't add anything to it. They just held a mirror up to us, showed us what we looked like, and that was it. But I know at some point someone's going to make a movie where there's a birthday massacre. And it's like, that's not why birthdays are scary. Like, they're going to miss the mark.
Don't give me ideas.
Yes. But point is, like I said, they found something that was already had some terror rooted into it.
Yeah.
They fleshed it out. They showed us what it was. And they made that the motivation of the killer. And all of us almost can feel for the killer. We feel for the killer. Like, I get why he's bitter. I get why he's angry. I get why he's murdering all these people. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that motive, especially when you find out who it is, which we are about to reveal at the 5-minute mark. So I want to give everybody a heads up. Before we get into that, let's talk about the great motives, the whodunits. This movie did such a good job. I felt like at one point in the movie, did you feel that, like, okay, it could be anybody and I won't be pissed?
Yeah, no, I think that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing for me was as I was watching the film, I didn't care who it was going to be. I wanted to figure it out just to be like, oh, I figured it out. But I didn't care. Like, it could have been any of these dipshits and I would have been like, yes, because I wanted to see what was it that was the catalyst for them to start doing this. We know it was rooted in the massacre on Black Friday, but we don't know whose specific death at that massacre triggered the killer. And so that's why I wanted to figure it out, because then I'm like, okay, I want to see who got killed or how or whatever it was that triggered this person.
Yeah.
So I didn't care who it was, to be honest. And like I said, I mean, what I think was the beginning of the third act, it's pretty freaking blatantly obvious who it is. I mean, they practically just hand it to you on a silver platter.
Yeah.
So if you don't get it after that, you know, maybe you weren't looking, but that's okay. You'll be more surprised with the reveal. But again, it did not matter. And I honestly thought it was going to be somebody who died in the massacre, because then
that would have been interesting.
Like it would have been more prom nighty for me. I'm telling you guys, like I keep bringing it up. This film is very prom night. I'm serious.
It is.
Watch
No,
the
it really
first
is.
prom night and then watch this movie. They are very, very similar, and that's just another element that I really like. You know, I like prom night, so
Eli Roth cited that movie as inspiration. So
yeah, I mean, and it's obvious. Like
it's
you
very
can
obvious.
see it, and I liked that too. I thought that was cool. So yeah, I didn't care. And so when it was revealed, I was like, okay, now I know. But I wanted it to. It could have been any of them, and I would have been just as pleased.
All right. Well, I guess now we're in the last 5 minutes. We can reveal who it was. So,
spoiler warning.
And listen, spoiler alert. You want to end the show right now?
Yep.
You come back later and watch this.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Happy Thanksgiving if you have to sign off now. Well, we're going to reveal the killer in 3, 2, 1.
It's the sheriff.
Dempsey. Oh my
God. Patrick Dempsey.
It was Patrick Dempsey.
So here's the thing. How could you not know this from the very beginning? It's Patrick fucking Dempsey. Did you ever think the Grey's Anatomy guy was going to be in a horror film, much less the sheriff character? We all know the sheriff character dies in what, 99% of horror films?
Yeah.
So Patrick Dempsey coming in as the sheriff, I should have spotted that a mile away and known from the beginning it was going to be him. Because why wouldn't it be him?
Do you want to know why I locked it in that I knew it was him?
Well, okay. When was yours, and then I'll explain mine.
When the two characters are escaping and they realize they're in the John Carpenter house, I realized that at that point it had to be Patrick Dempsey. Here's the reason why.
Oh, that was before me. Okay.
Because here's the reason why. Who was the only person on site to know that that place was damaged? And he said, and he quartered it off. No one gets in, and he sealed the whole place off. Brilliant. You sealed off your hideout. No one's going to go back there. Everybody's running all over the place.
Yeah, you're right.
As soon as that happened, I was like, there it is.
You're right.
Because here's the thing. If there was an investigation of that vandalism, wouldn't you be like, if the upstairs is fucked up, think we should check downstairs? Nah, fam, we good.
But here's the thing. How many people would have known there was a downstairs? I didn't. These are supposed to be 1700 houses. This shit didn't have basements back then.
There's a door.
Why would you even look?
There's a door.
It could have been a closet, a pantry.
There's a door.
Could have been the sex room. I don't know.
Open the door.
You open the doors like people on sex swings. Who knows, man?
So that was when I was locked in. I was like, it's 100% him. Definitely him. At one point, I thought it was the boyfriend and the ex-boyfriend working together. At one point, I was like,
yeah,
these two hate each other very uncomfortably to the point where it was getting a little performative. So I was like, that would be a pretty interesting twist. Those are my guesses. What were your guesses? And
so
when did you figure it out it was Patrick Dempsey, by the way?
So they use those guys as the distraction. They try to get you to think it's one of the two of them or working together. And I very much got a Stu and Billy Loomis type
very much
as well.
Yes.
But that was all the distraction from Patrick Dempsey. So for me, it was at the start of the third act. What's her name? Jessica, title character. She's running up and she sees him on the ground in front of his cruiser and he's dead. And she like rolls him over. I'm like, oh, he's the killer. Like it's just like right there. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, this is a John Kramer trick. He's just laying there.
He's just laying there.
Patrick Dempsey. So that's when I guessed that it was. I saw that. I'm like, oh, it's totally him. But
and plus, how did he get in front of her? How did
right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like there was like, I think that whole scene in the woods, I think there's something missing because it feels like there's this weird jump. I'm not sure if you felt it.
No, yeah, there is. Maybe there was something that they had in there that they had to ditch it. I mean, it wasn't a super long film. So I mean, they had some time, I think.
Yeah, no, but there's this one part where it's an hour and 45 minutes. There's just this quick little when you
Yeah,
watch
they had
it,
time.
yeah, but again, I'm not gonna say this movie died for me in that case. I still loved it. It was great.
Absolutely.
And I think what was so great is that they took all the taglines from the trailer, the mock
Yeah.
trailer,
Yeah.
and used them in this movie, like white meat, dark meat, all meat is served. And they use that in the Instagram post. And then I love when Dempsey comes up behind the turkey as it's blown up
Yeah.
with the axe. He has his battle wounds, and he goes, "Jessica!"
And what does he say? Like, there will be no leftovers this year. And he like,
Dude, the
So
whole theater erupted in
Yeah.
laughter. We were like cheering it like it was a
Yeah.
wrestling match. We're like, "Fucking yeah!" Like, oh my god.
the leftover comment was good.
No, this movie did everything we wanted. It was fun.
Absolutely.
It was great. Do I want a sequel to it? Not really. The reason why I don't want a sequel, be a one and done. I'm
Yeah.
now appreciating movies being one and doneers.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because there's something magical. Like Caddyshack. It would have been nice if that was just a one and doneer. You know what I mean? Certain movies like I like Get Out. Great example. It's a one and doneer. You know what I mean? I like movies being one and doneers because you always have the magic and the essence. And I feel like this movie has magic packed so tightly into a movie that you don't want it to lose it. But if there was a sequel, and I'm going to quote what's his name, the guy who wrote Breaking Bad. He said the only reason why he made the El Camino movie, he says, I had this idea itching in the back of my head for over 5 years, and I couldn't unitch it. So I had to make the movie. I get that. I get that inspiration. I get that wanting to make something. But if you do it for the cash, don't do it. You're going to hurt us. Let this movie to me, I think, is going to be a staple for me. Definitely for this holiday season.
So, right along those lines, where you're talking about money, the budget for this film was $15 million.
Mm-hmm.
And it's already past that.
Yeah.
I was trying to find the here we go. I just wanted to just get the total numbers.
Yeah.
So it's already at 13 million. And it's only been in the theater since the 17th. So definitely on track, which is great. And then obviously the rentals and any little physical media sales, since they seem to be phasing that out. But yeah, very, very successful. And at $15 million, that's interesting to me because there's some top bill actors in there. So I like when actors do things because they want. Like Patrick Dempsey wanted to be in this film. It wasn't a contract thing.
He took a pay cut. He said he wanted to do the movie that badly.
Right. Like this wasn't a studio contracted thing. This wasn't his agent pushing him to do this for one reason or another. You know, he's like, I want to do this. And you know, to me, that means something. Like back in the day in animated films, you didn't have stars doing the voices. They were the voice actors. And if you had a star, it was a big deal. So when Tim Allen and Tom Hanks did Toy Story, that was a big deal because they used a lot of celebrities in that, but the two of them. And I always thought it was respectable when actors would do stuff for the kids or do stuff for the fans, right? Because they don't have to. These are paid professionals that most of the top bill get to choose what work they do and how much they get paid. They don't have to do shit for anyone but themselves. And I don't have a problem with that. But when you do something like that, it means something. So the fact that of all people, Patrick Dempsey is like, I'm doing this. And then it just delivers. I'm like, thanks, man. Like,
he got the sexiest man alive award.
Appreciate it. Like
Slasherville. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah.
Like, so I commend that. And
that means something, you know, like that. And I think that doesn't get spoken about a lot. That's not a talking point I hear a lot. Because we often think when people do horror films and they're top bill, they're at the end of their career or they're in a slump or they're just taking work to pay off some debt like Nicolas Cage did, you know, like that's what you think because that's all you know. But when you find out that they did it because they wanted to do it, because that was something they were passionate about, that's different, and that means something. And that's just another reason why this film is successful. But I do think that is I wouldn't say it dominates its success, but it's a large portion of it. You know, you have somebody like Patrick Dempsey coming into this and then delivering, and then the film was great. But there's some clout there with him coming in, and I respect him for that. I appreciate it. Thanks.
No, I think what he did was great, and I want him in more horror movies. Honestly,
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's do
I
it.
think if you had him, if you put him back in the Scream movies, like maybe him and Sydney did get married, and maybe they're off having their lives. And this time, just like in the third movie originally, Ghostface comes after them.
They did get married.
They did get married. Oh, it's confirmed. They did get married. So
Oh,
there you go. So come on. Here's the thing. I think. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this real quick. One more Scream movie, and here's the pitch. Here's the pitch, and it's going to be a home run. Follow me on this. So yeah, obviously Sydney doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. So that's why Ghostface comes and gets her, and it's her and Patsy Dempsey, the kids, and if we have to put Gail in there, God forbid, we'll put her in there. But here's the best part. They finally give us what we wanted since the very beginning. It's Stu. We tie it all together.
Yeah.
We owned it. Done. We're done. We're done with the movie. We're done with the franchise.
Okay.
We ended it on a bang. We gave it its end game. Then we're like, oh, great. So we can watch Scream 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 5. We can skip 6 and pretend it didn't happen, and then go right to that good one, and they can retcon the shit. Highlander retconned each of their sequels, so Scream can do it.
Well, I mean, Terminator retconned all their shit. Like, I mean, a lot of them have done it, dude. Okay, so this is what you're saying: Scream 1 through 3, and then retcon. Just have Scream 4 as then the newest Scream film. Forget the actual 4, 5, and 6, right?
Yeah. And then you can bring Dewey back. You can bring Dewey back.
There it is. Sarah, are you into this?
Sarah, are you into this?
I'm sorry, I'm reading a really sad part of my book.
All right, she's crying. Anyway, she's reading a book. I got her the coolest gift. It's a headgear that goes around your shoulders, and the book's like right there on her.
Oh,
She's
nice.
There, and she has a clicker to make the page turn on her Kindle. So she's set.
Wow, that's really cool.
This is her Charizard. This is her Roman Empire.
Nice.
Yeah, she's in her final form of evolution. But anyways, that is the time we have on At the Grown Up Table. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Like I said, we talked about everything so that there was no leftovers. All right,
no leftovers.
No more leftovers. This movie was fantastic. Go see it. I loved it. If you already seen it, which you probably have already seen because you're listening, because we already revealed the killer, you liked it. So support horror movies like this, and hopefully we get more stuff like this. We get more movies where we have passionate directors with passionate writers make movies that make us go, this is why we come to the theaters. This is like...
No, you just did the Nicole Kidman. We come to the movies, and we even joked about it, and you just did it, man. You just did it.
That's what Eli Roth did. Eli Roth turned me into Nicole Kidman. This is why we come to the movies. Could you imagine if the Nicole Kidman commercial had Thanksgiving kills going on the screen?
Oh, my God, that'd be great.
And that was it right there. But anyways...
Hills.
So thank you very much, Michael. Thanks for commenting, man. Thank you for joining us everywhere on YouTube, Facebook. Tune in next week. We'll be back. We're going to be doing our holiday lineup of shows, so don't miss that. We're back here every Wednesday, 7 o'clock live, and you could comment and join in with the conversation with us because we love having you here. Quick little show plugs. I'm going to be back on the road now that some time has passed since my special. I'm going to be at Hullabaloo Theater December 2nd, and then I'm going to be in Belmont, Ohio on November 30th. Sorry, everything's a lot of order. Just go to jessepimpanello.com and you'll see all my show dates there. But basically, thank you guys so much. Tune in next week. Until then, I'm Jesse.
And I'm John.
And you've been sitting at the Grown Ups Table. Thank you, and have an awesome night, everybody.